Well, hello and everybody. Welcome to this Ask Me Anything About Accreditation. I say ask us because I have my dog, Mitzi, sleeping under my desk, my sleeping partner. So I'm late on manoeuvres today. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Um, so this session, Ask Me Anything About Accreditation, is for anybody out there who is training to be a coach or is newly graduated and thinking, well, how does accreditation differ to my certificate of certification of coaching? Or maybe you're a training provider and thinking, how will becoming accredited help me attract more international students and move up the league tables if you're a university? Or maybe you're a member of the public and you're thinking about why is it important to be supported by an accredited coach and or mentor, or train with an accredited training provider. So I'm going to be answering any of the questions that come up for you today. I normally have a special guest, but today it's just Mitzi and I. So I'm just going to pick her up and let you have a look at her. Mitzi, come here, sweetheart. Come here. 1, 2, 3. Because you've all seen her in the picture, and she's my new rescue dog. Absolutely beautiful Maltese. Aren't you gorgeous? Hey, yes, she's a little darling. She's been a breeding bitch in a puppy farm for 9 years, and now she's living her best life as a princess. So there she goes. There's Mitzi. So I'll let her go back to sleep now. So yeah, Rowena, my VA, is looking at all the social media pages. And if you've got any questions, particularly we'd love to hear from people in the public who are thinking, I'd like to work with a coach, or I'd like to work with a mentor, or I'd like to train as a coach and add coaching to your skill set. So give us your questions. It doesn't matter what they are, about the coaching and mentoring profession, code of professional conduct, how to become accredited, how to find a training provider that's going to train you to be the next best coach. Or you might want to ask me a question about Mitzi and how did we find each other? I don't mind. So these are monthly sessions, first Wednesday of every month. And you can send your questions in via my VA, Rowena, in any of the comment boxes, or you can send me an email at dawn@coach-accreditation.services, or contact me via the IAPCM website. Well, she's very sleepy today. You're very sleepy, aren't you, darling? Hey? So, accreditation. Well, let's start with, why is accreditation important? It's a bit like insurance. You don't know you need it until you need it. So if you're a coach out there and you want to stand out as a professional in our profession, what I tend to say to students and graduates is, obviously you want to be properly trained. You want to have insurance if your country offers insurance. You want to be independently accredited. And what I mean by independently is you don't mark your own homework. There's no point in saying I'm accredited by my training provider. They're not in a position to certify you and accredit you. That's a bit like when you're stood at the airport and you see all these books in the bookshop saying #1 bestseller. Well, who says they're the #1 bestseller? Quite often it's the publisher or the author themselves, isn't it? So it wants to be somebody independent, and we've been doing this since 1998, so nearly 27 years. And that is our core business. We don't do, that's right. We don't do any training. We're not in competition with training providers. We are simply accrediting the next generation of great coaches, and the courses, the training providers, the academies, and the universities who are offering that training. And then the other thing that I say to the public to look out for, and to coaches who want to shine a light on what they do and how they do it, is write something and get it published. It doesn't matter whether it's a report or white paper, an e-guide, a workbook. It doesn't really matter. Just write something that people can refer to. And I tend to think it doesn't need to be a tome. Nobody's interested in reading a tome anymore. People have got very short attention spans, haven't they, Mitzi? It's scientifically proven that humans have about 12 seconds before their attention span wanes, and goldfish, no, 9 seconds now, and goldfish are 12. So we've got less of attention span than a goldfish. Wow, that takes some consideration, doesn't it? And that's because we've got so much pulling us at, and desensitizing us and calling for our attention on social media 24/7. So, you know, we need something that is going to differentiate us from all the other people out there calling themselves coaches. And you're a very good listener, aren't you? Hey? So yeah, being properly trained, serving your apprenticeship, which is having a study buddy, which is supervised, and you've got your own coach, mentor, and it could take months, literally months. I'm talking a minimum of 60 hours worth one-to-one coaching before you're going to start charging your clients. So that's kind of like the apprenticeship. And be insured if your country offers insurance, be independently accredited, and have something that helps you stand out as an expert in your field, such as a published ebook. Now, of course, we've, you know, a lot of us have got that gremlin saying, oh, you know, who's going to read my book? But I waited until I was a master coach, which would be at least 10 years, I think, before I wrote my first book. And I've been involved or written or co-written or project managed or edited probably about 13, 14 books in that time. But before that, I was waiting until I was a master coach, whatever that means. I suppose it means, you know, I'm very, very experienced. I've clocked up thousands and thousands of hours of working with clients. But I remember going to a conference, and everybody who was a speaker was relatively new in their industry, less than a year old. And yet they were all up there on the stage, and I was paying to be in the audience. And I realized the common denominator was they were all published authors. So that got me thinking that even though our gremlin might say, you know, who are you to write a book? Why does the market need another book on that subject? Well, I would just say that, as Tony Robbins says, there's, you know, nothing original out there except your voice. And it's not about finding your voice. You've all got a voice, but it's about putting it down and writing your story in a way that's relatable, that people can identify and know that you're going to be the right coach for them. So let me just see, because I think there's a question that has popped up. Yep, good one. I can't see who this is from. What red flags should people watch out for when choosing a coach, particularly regarding accreditation, professional standards and ethics? Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's the same as when you are hiring any professional, whether it's an accountant, a driving instructor, a lawyer. You check them out, don't you? If you're going on holiday, you check out the holiday company. Who are they registered with? In the event that the holiday company goes bust, who do you go to? Well, it's no different in the speaking profession, whether it's counseling, coaching, mentoring. You want that reassurance that the coach that you're considering is part of a national or international registration. And that in the event that there is a problem, you've got a path to deal with your complaint. So anybody who wants to work with an IAPCNIM accredited coach knows everybody on our directory has got a contract with a fair, ethical and transparent, it's not something that's hidden, transparent complaints procedure. So you know exactly what to do in the event that you're not happy. If that happens and you don't resolve it with your provider, whether it's a training provider or an individual, then you can come to us as the authority on coaching and mentoring. And we're an authority because we've been doing this since 1998. It's all we do. In the event that we can't help mediate and resolve the issue, then it escalates to the IRCM, which is the industry ombudsman. And in the unlikely event that they can't help either, it obviously then would go to Brussels if somebody wanted to take it that far. So that's one of the reasons why it's super important that you protect your mental health and well-being by working with a professional, and you've checked out that they have signed up and are committed to adhering to a professional code of conduct and set of standards that says they can deliver what they say they're going to deliver, so that you're happy with the service. So there you go. I think that answers that question. So any more questions out there, Rowena? Even if it's about this lovely Mitzi, this beautiful rescue dog, who people keep saying to me, oh, she's so lucky, because she is a very, very spoiled princess. She is so lucky to have found you, but actually I think I'm so lucky to have found her. She teaches me a lot about gratitude and happiness and living in the moment every single day. So yeah, all good. So what else can we say? What else can we say? So we've talked about accreditation, we've talked about insurance. Everything starts with a contract. Contracting is really, really important. Contracting is about managing expectations, setting boundaries, so you know exactly what you're signing up to. So in the event that you're late for a coaching session or you don't turn up, what is the refund policy? I'm just going to put Mitzi down. What is the refund policy? Is there any refund in the event that something doesn't work out, etc.? Yeah, thank you for your question about the lovely Mitzi. She has been living with me for 5 months. So we're still very much in the building trust, which is what we do in our coaching relationships, which is why the contract is so important, because that, as I say, manages expectations and boundaries. You know exactly what you expect from each other, what the commitment is. You know your coach is going to show up and be 100% available for you, and you're committing to do the work that comes up in each of your coaching sessions. Because there's no point in having coaching sessions if week after week or session after session. I prefer the word conversation as opposed to session, really, but after every conversation, you're not doing the actions. That's like reading a self-help book and then doing nothing with it and then putting the book back on the shelf. So that's really important. I'm just going to check my phone if there's any questions. No. Oops, let me have a look. Yeah, how does working with an accredited, oh, sorry, Mitzi, how does working with an accredited coach ensure a better outcome? Well, I think I've kind of answered that, in so much as if it doesn't work out, you have redress to go up the chain through the supplier's complaints procedure, because nobody in our directory would become accredited without the contract and complaints procedure, and then it would escalate to our complaints department. Luckily, we very rarely have any complaints. The complaints that we tend to get are usually around misunderstandings, to be honest, and that's why it's so important to have that contract that explains everything and manages expectations. So if we do get a complaint, it's quite often with regard to a graduate coming off an accredited course thinking they are accredited themselves. And of course, what they don't realize is, even though we've explained it and it's in writing and there are videos and text on the website, etc., it's the course that you've attended that is accredited, because that training provider has invested in having their course and themselves accredited. It is not the end user. They would have to apply for their own accreditation independently, but that's very, very easy, because they get a faster track reduced fee option to their personal accreditation status when they've trained on an IAPCNM accredited course. So there's a big financial investment and time benefit to be gained when you're doing your due diligence and choosing which training provider is the right one for you. Okay, well, this is our last Q&A session of the year. And our next one, I think, will be, it's either the 7th or the 14th of January, but it will be posted, so you won't miss out. So for clients who are new to coaching, what criteria should they look for in an accredited coach to ensure they're choosing somebody credible and aligned with their goals? Yeah, I mean, thank you for your question. And I think putting aside the contract, the accreditation, the insurance, testimonials, they're kind of all a given. What should you look for if you're hiring a coach? Well, if you go over to the IAPCNM website, for instance, under the directories, you'll see a downloadable e-guide, how to choose your coach or mentor, or even how to choose your training provider. That's a really useful guide because it says interview the person, interview the coaches that you've selected. And by the way, everybody in our directory obviously complies with what's in that downloadable e-guide. So it's all about the conversation. Go with your gut feeling. If they feel right, they resonate with you, their story, their journey speaks to you, you can afford their fees, you like what you hear in terms of what they do and how they do it, then you should be fine. It's all about the conversation. You don't just pick somebody because you like somebody. Same as you wouldn't just pick a holiday because you like the destination without knowing the flights, the costs, the hotel terms, etc. You do your due diligence. It's really, really important. And of course, there is the assumption that people are accredited. So you don't know that until there's a problem, and then you find out, oh. So we have a situation that comes up from time to time in the corporate and the education field. There's suddenly a problem and everybody's asked to produce their professional evidence portfolio. And lo and behold, where is your accreditation? I don't have one. Then there's panic stations. So it's for a very small cost. Once you're accredited, that's obviously where the cost is, but year on year thereafter, it's usually in between about 35p and 60p a day, depending on your status. You get a massive amount of benefits, both personally and professionally, to support you. You obviously get your certificate. You're getting the proof to show that you have maintained your CPD, your continuing professional development, and you haven't had any complaints. Your testimonial log is building, and you get a new certificate confirming for the next 12 months that you are accredited in exactly the same way as you do with your car insurance, your house insurance, if you haven't had any claims, etc., etc. So it's kind of a no-brainer. If you spend thousands of pounds being trained, why wouldn't you spend a couple of hundred? And that's literally all it is. A couple of £100 becoming accredited, and then there's another 100 or so being insured. So I think we're kind of going around in circles. I've answered 2 or 3 questions that are very similar. I'm conscious of the fact we're halfway through, and if there isn't anybody else who's got a question, we'll probably wrap it up. I'll just confirm. Yeah, it is the 7th of January, which will be the next Ask Me Anything, I believe. So I'll just wait a moment to see if there are any more questions. And Mitzi has bolted because I dropped something on the floor. She's still very nervous. Okay. So what else can I tell you? Well, from a training provider's point of view, I do know when I'm speaking to the students, which I do on a regular basis, usually just before their graduation days, whether it's universities or training providers, they usually say that one of the reasons that they chose that course for them was because it met their expectations, their budget was accredited, was independently verified and authenticated in terms of the quality. So I just say, well, put yourself in the shoes of a client. That's what they're looking for as well. When you graduate and become a coach, they're going to want to know that you're not only trained, as we say, TQA, trained, qualified, and accredited. So you'll get a PR done for you type pack with social media adverts, etc. So a great deal of support. But if you're thinking about becoming accredited, think about over and above your certificate, which is a given, your accreditation status. What is it that you're looking for? And most people will say to me when I'm talking to them, what's really important is community. Because if you think about it, we coaches and mentors are mainly solopreneurs. So we're all working away in our own little pods, quite isolated. And it's the reason why we put so much emphasis on mental health and well-being. We try and provide mental health and well-being training. We have a weekly guided meditation. We have a monthly well-being hub. So if you're feeling a bit lonely, a bit isolated, you just want to chat to somebody like-minded, you don't even need a question, just drop in, have a cup of coffee, or in my case, a smoothie and a chat. And that's run by the lovely Teresa, who's an award-winning relationship coach. So there's a lot of people in the community that will help you build your confidence, build your networking skills, and we also can help you build your hours as well. So, Rowena, if there's nothing else coming up, nobody else is asking any questions, just give me a little nod and I will wrap it up. With coaching being so crowded, it's a very noisy digital space. How does the 𝐸A-𝐃𝐶NM help you get clients? That's a good question, and it's a popular question among coaches. And of course, the answer is it's not our job to get clients for you. That's not what we do. We're not a matching service. Having said that, your accreditation and being able to verify and dot the I's and cross the T's for your evidence portfolio, getting you that accreditation is a way of getting you more clients. So it does help you stand out in a very noisy digital space. You know, particularly since COVID, I tend to think everybody and their dog is calling themselves a coach. My hairdresser, I think I said this last month, my hairdresser said, oh, I could do what you do. I listen to people all day long and give advice. And of course, that's not what coaching is. So when you're accredited, it means that you've met certain international standards. You've signed up to a professional code of conduct. You've had your experience authenticated. You've had all your certificates verified. You've had your skills and capability to deliver what you say you're going to deliver assessed. So when you've got an accreditation, an independent accreditation, that will, by definition, help you get more clients. But if you join an accreditation body thinking they are now going to get you, you can sit there and they're now going to get you clients, that's not the way that it works. Let's see if I can understand this next question. Yeah, I think I've answered that question as well, because if you're not a professional within our profession, then you're not going to get accredited. So whether you're an organization, you've got an in-house coaching or mentoring culture, or you're an individual coach like myself, or you're a training provider, you're not going to succeed in the accreditation journey if you can't provide all the evidence that our head of accreditation, David Monroe-Jones, who is a walking oracle. What he doesn't know about our industry isn't worth knowing. He's phenomenal. He's also an accredited supervisor. So that's something else that people are increasingly looking for, not just coaching and mentoring, but also supervision. So that's another service that we're going to be rolling out next year for the coaches and mentors who are professional and want to be supervised as part of their ongoing CPD. Okay, so coaching question now. What's the biggest misconceptions about accreditation? And how does IAPC address through the standards? The biggest misconceptions about accreditation. Well, I suppose one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's easy, that it's a tick box exercise. It's not. Some accreditation bodies are competencies based, we're capabilities based, which we feel is a very humanistic approach. It's a very holistic approach to assessing somebody's capability to deliver. And it's also, by definition, inclusive. So it doesn't, particularly with the rise in neurodiversity, yeah, I'm dyslexic. If I was going through a competencies model and I had to do a thesis and lots of tick box exercises, I might not do so well. But our capability accreditation process is all about the conversation. So I can do that, no problem. So that might be one of the biggest misconceptions, particularly from the graduates of accredited coach training programs who might come in and think it's a tick box exercise because they've already gone there. No, if you've come through your training provider, you've been assessed at that level. When you go to an independent third party, you're now being assessed at an international level. So it's no longer apples and apples, it's apples and oranges. You're being assessed against everybody. So it's not a walk in the park, but it's not as scary as you might think, because you are provided everything that you need to prepare. So it's your job to do the preparation. We can, take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So we will give you everything that you need. And most people will take this pretty seriously because they're investing in themselves, they're investing in their business. So we do it. So I guess that's how we address it, by the process that we put people through, and that's capabilities based. Okay. Thank you, Rowena, for fielding those questions. It's also helpful if you give me their names as well. So I think that's it. I'll just check my phone as well, where Rowena is sending me questions, and see if there's anything else. So to wrap up, I would say, if you're a member of the public listening to this and you've just stumbled across me talking about accreditation on my own, with or without Mitzi, who's done a runner, please do your due diligence in the same way you would when you're buying any important item. It doesn't have to be a high ticket item, just an important one. And if you're going to work with a coach or a mentor to help you improve your personal and or professional life, what could be more important? So there's lots of support and advice and signposting on the IAPCNM website. Rowena will share our link on all the comment boxes, so that you can ask your questions directly afterwards, or just have a browse around the website. And if you're a coach, when your due diligence is over and above your accreditation status certificate, what is it that you're looking for from your accreditation body? Are you looking for community? Are you looking for networking? Are you looking for financial support? Are you looking for business acumen? Are you looking for confidence? Are you looking to raise your profile through masterclasses, delivering masterclasses? Or are you looking to build your skills and enhance your skills with CPD? So you really want to find out all the things that are on offer. And some people just want an invoice once a year and their certificate once a year, and they're not bothered. But if you want that sort of level of support every week, there is something going on that is going to help you personally and or professionally, as well as the meditations, because as I said, we really feel very passionate that in order to walk the walk and talk the talk, we've got to look after ourselves, hence the weekly meditation. And the last one of the year was today, actually. So they'll resume 7th or 14th of January. I can't remember. So there we go. I hope that was useful. Please give us a thumbs up. I know Rowena is looking at all the platforms that this goes out on. She will give you the direct website for you to check out more. And you can also look at the directory, who are training providers. You can download the how to choose your training provider, how to choose your coach e-guide. So that's probably the best places to start. But if you've got any other questions, then you can email me directly from the website. So I will say cheerio. Probably won't see you again until the new year. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing over the festive period, and goodness knows, you might want to do nothing and just recharge the batteries. You're very, very